Welcome back to the Madhouse Show. I have no newcomers this time, actually. We got a second timer. Becky, welcome back. Thank you for coming. Luke, as always, we're tired of seeing you, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's all right. That's why I wear the hat.
We only have to see half of you. We get it. All right, thank you. But yeah, we'll just dive right into it. I wanted to talk a little bit tonight about the government shutdown that's happening. And I know there's been a little bit of a stir going on about the SNAP and WIC cuts. And I just kind of wanted to get your guys' opinion on what's going on, what you think's going to happen. Luke, you sent me a link to Alex Jones. Oh, God. And, Alex Jones going crazy like he always does.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
going absolutely apeshit crazy. So, yeah, they're turning the frogs gay. But he's just in that kind of media, I guess. And it's kind of like you hit on these conspiracy theories. You be the first one to do it. And, you're going to get some wrong. You're going to get some right. Like Candace Owens is the same in a lot of ways, too. That's just kind of his type of media. That's how he works. But his new thing is, he thinks that, civil war, civil unrest is going to break out because of this. And he does, have some decent possible points of what this could happen. There's a lot of talk when it comes to just people and humans. Like, what do they say? Luke, you know the phrase, we're 3 meals away from chaos. Was it 3 meals
away from anarchy?
3 meals away from anarchy. So that's a real possible way to look at things, because now this is different. This is not a civil rights case of like Michael Brown or George Floyd. Of course, that was a thing, and there were riots and all these things over that. But this could be different because this is over people eating. This is food. This is a lot different. People can get a lot more serious when it comes to that, when it comes to feeding their family, when it comes to feeding their children. A lot more dire things can happen. People can be put in a lot more situations. So, yeah, I just really wanted to talk about that. That's coming up very soon. I believe November 1st is the first mark of when people will not be receiving those benefits at all. I have my own personal theories. I don't think that means November 1st. That's exactly when all chaos breaks out. But what do you guys think? Why don't we start with Becky? You being your second timer here. What do you think? What's going to happen November 1st when that cuts?
Well, I have been trying my darndest to get movements going to get people that aren't going to be affected to start donating to food pantries and really getting the word out, trying to spread food pantries for that exact reason. I think it's not a hidden fact that there is becoming a class disparity in the United States beyond something that I think our country has ever seen. Like, I could be wrong about that. I would need to cite some facts, but I mean, the highest wage and the highest earners to the lowest earners right now is obscene, like the difference in money. And so this sounds like, to me, it feels like a political play.
Yes.
That is going to affect the lives of, between 20 and 50 million Americans. I can't understand, whether you're Republican or Democrat, how you would be okay with American people going hungry. One of the big arguments that I've heard is, well, they should have jobs, but I personally have never met people on SNAP benefits or WIC that do not have jobs. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, there's a lot of jobs in America that don't provide for a family of 4 and 5. Mm-hmm. So, frankly, I find it kind of scary. Generally, when there's this kind of wage disparity or this kind of class disparity, there's a revolution. I mean, the French Revolution was over the exact same thing, and it's been pretty much repeated throughout history. So I'm not looking forward to this.
No.
But I'm gonna fight to feed as many people as I personally can to make sure that anybody that I personally know, and I posted this on Facebook, and I actually made it public, which I never do, to just reach out for help. If you don't have food, ask people.
Yes.
If you can help. I mean, at this point, beyond the government, we have to band together as humans to make sure that we are all helping each other.
Yeah, help each other. And it might be time. Obviously, the government's not doing their job. I mean, they're currently shut down. And this is, I believe, the longest so far we've ever had a government shutdown, or close to, or it's will be for sure.
I don't think we're there yet.
I think on the purse it'll be the longest.
Yeah, so I personally think it's a power play. I don't see a lot of left and right when it comes down to it anymore. I think the left and the right are playing ball together, as they do in many more cases than we would like to think, like, two wings of the same bird type thing. We talked a little bit about this the last time you were on. The, Democrats, is it the Democrats' fault? Is it the Republicans' fault? I find it very hard to navigate through what is actually true anymore. It's tough.
If I can give just my 2 cents on that question specifically, ignoring everything else, I would like to know why Mike Johnson just keeps putting the whole Congress on recess. Like, why are they not talking? Because we're paying them.
Think to hold out because I think the government themselves wants civil unrest.
I agree.
I think history's proven, war, civil unrest, lots of things. They generate revenue in ways that we don't think about normally. And I think that's a lot of what's going on. I think there's a lot of plans. I mean, I've been diving pretty deep into, I'd say conspiracy theories, but they're not. They're actual conspiracies that have been exposed, and they're 100% true. And it's just, I think this is another one of those. It's a psyop. I hope it doesn't go too far. I hope it doesn't become like, 9/11, COVID, things like that have been proven at this point to be, in a lot of ways, psyops. Maybe there's some truth to them, but I don't know. I'm not trying to go down that rabbit hole. I've been going down a lot of them myself. My head hurts lately studying the Federal Reserve a lot, and I get very angry. I'm learning a lot, and I'm not happy with what I'm learning, and it's kind of disgusting the way that this country has operated, and in a lot of ways I'm just ashamed. It's not really a left and right thing. It's a class thing, and I think that's more so what's happening right now. And kind of like I said, maybe Michael Brown and George Floyd might have been a civil rights thing, which that's a big deal. I understand, but a class war is a little bit more of a bigger deal, and especially when people are hungry. I just worry what could possibly happen, the whole 3 meals away from chaos thing. So with the Alex Jones, just a little bit of context, he continued to share numerous, little TikToks or shorts of people that were angry. When they're just people like, you cut my snap off, you see what happens. And these people are warning. Now, once again, I will say, I think this is a little bit of fear mongering, but hey, that's what the right and the left, it doesn't matter which side you're on, especially like Alex Jones, though. He's good at it. He does that. That's what he's doing. But he didn't make these videos, and they certainly didn't look AI to me. There were people saying and warning, like Walmart workers and store workers. They were just like, look, if I don't get my EBT, if I don't get my SNAP, then y'all just better let me walk into that store, get what I need, and get out, or else you might not make it home kind of shit. They are literally online threatening store workers. If this happens, they're going to walk right into the stores, take what they need, and get out. And honestly, the way I look at it is, from what I've seen, they're not going to take just what they need. They're going to take everything they possibly can, because that's how chaos erupts. It's looting at that point.
And when people
so
loot,
I worry that's going to happen. People are selfish.
Oh, yeah.
So
they're selfish, but when food is involved, when their families are involved, I mean, I went through some really rough times when I had my daughter, and never had any government assistance or anything, but some of the things that I had to do to provide for my family are things that I'm not super proud of.
Yeah.
But when you have the choice of like feeding your family or going hungry, you'll make choices usually that go beyond even maybe your own moral compass.
Yeah.
And
that's what I
especially
worry.
if you have children.
Yeah, exactly. And I do, and you're a good person at heart. You're trying to feed your kids, and that's all that matters. Your inner world's all that matters, and so you don't care about the next person so much. You definitely care about your children more. And there's nothing wrong with that, I don't think. I care about humans. I don't have any kids, but, I don't know. There are certain humans, I'd feed my dog before them. Fuck them. I like my dog more.
Your dog could be your kid. He's your fur baby.
Well, exactly. I think it was Sweden or something we were just talking about earlier today too.
I saw that.
Yeah, did you see that? They passed a law that pets are considered family members and they're not property anymore. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
As long as I don't get in trouble for smack him in the butt when he goes to the bathroom on my floor. Yes, I do.
Start rubbing his nose in it.
Like Child
Yeah,
Protective Services takes my dog.
Right.
I've always thought animals are cooler than people. I mean, they are. They're just they're not as
second
evil
that.
as us.
I'll second that.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Dogs
They
are way
don't have
cooler than
evil in their
people.
hearts.
There's not ulterior motive. And I think, hitting on your points about the conspiracy theories, God, it's hard to, like you were saying, it's hard to even call some of these conspiracy theories. I feel like this is really intentional where we're at right now.
And that's what I mean. Like, would this be a conspiracy theory? Or I don't know. We're going to know here in a couple of weeks. But I will say, especially with this government shutdown, with it happening, and if these people do actually end up going hungry, and I'm not talking about, okay, we're going to go loot just because fuck the man and we're going to loot and blah, blah, blah. But if they actually like legitimately are looting because they're hungry and they're going to get food that they need, then this was intentional. And I'm not claiming Trump or Democrats or left or right. I'm claiming the whole government planned this. Like, I'm sorry. That's just how I feel. There's no way that either Republican or Democrat can't stop this right now when it comes to their citizens going hungry. Come on. And I'll go ahead and I'll throw it out because I did save these couple of things. So here I have just a little quick meme here. I don't know who needs to hear this, but there is over a $6 billion contingency reserve for SNAP and WIC so they aren't interrupted during shutdowns like 2017 and 2019. But Donald J. Trump, his USDA, chose to cut SNAP off November 1st. Thanks, Donald J. Trump, for that. Okay, so that would be obviously the left side of the aisle. And then here we got Caroline Leavitt. If Democrats continue to hold Americans hostage, there will not be enough funds to provide SNAP benefits for more than 40 million Americans on November 1st. That is next week. Democrats are solely responsible for all of this unnecessary pain. Why are they doing it? To give taxpayer-funded health care benefits to illegal aliens. So that's a little bit of a left versus right, both sides of the aisle. I just did a snapshot of both just to save that. And I just kind of wanted to bring both those points up to you guys and talk a little bit about that. Like, what is really going on? Like, Becky, I don't know personally. Becky, Luke, is there a $6 billion fund that can cover this? Do you guys know of?
Yes, absolutely. They do have a backup contingency plan for just in case this happens.
Okay, so Caroline Leavitt is then lying, saying that we have no money come November 1st. Just asking.
That's it. I'll have to look into it again, but I'm pretty sure that Donald Trump did sign into something about SNAP benefits being cut off, for certain qualified people.
Because I'm really just trying to get to the bottom of like who does have the final say to these people not getting the money for their food. And I don't know the answer to that. I'm just wondering if you guys know.
Well, left and right, they're the ones that ultimately do it. So, like when you're talking about, this is a long, deep rabbit hole. You have no idea, and neither do I.
Well, I don't. I just, and you guys are intelligent people, so I'm just asking. I don't know the answer.
Like, I was over here just jotting some stuff down. Someone was saying something that, it could be like a possible power play that, that the government's doing. Well, of course it is, because somebody's not getting enough money and then the other side isn't happy about it. That's what's going on. There's a bill in there or something.
Well, it's always greed. It's insane greed, and like Becky was talking about, that's why we have such a huge class gap right now. It's insane.
Yeah. No, it really is. It's nothing but them trying to line their own pockets up. They don't have enough money on their side, so they're like, we're going to keep it shut down, until then. And then since this happened with Trump passing the bill, which I'll go back and research back into again. Yeah, it's nothing but a power play. Let's keep it down. And when it comes to
I just keep going back to, can we hire scab workers real quick? That's what union shutdowns happen.
Honestly,
this is stupid.
They just need to put them on fucking minimum wage. Like the whole time they're not working, they shouldn't be able to get that money because there's something that they're bitching. They're trying to figure out is how the federal workers can get a check. And then from what I'm understanding, the left side of the aisle is holding that back because they don't want them to get paid. It's just like, but the whole time you're out, the minute you come, the government comes back, they all get that money. For the entire time the whole thing was shut down.
Well, they're trying to write that out. I know Russell Vought was working with Trump to try to specifically go after Democratic interests to make sure they don't get their back pay. I have not heard whether that's finalized or not, but that is what they're trying to do. They're trying to lay off a chunk of people while this is closed and not bring them back and not give them back pay. And
I'm
so,
just talking about the people who are sitting on the left plus the right sides of the aisles.
Like the
actual
people
governors.
deciding how long the government shutdown goes on should definitely not get paid, is what you're trying to say?
I'm saying all of Congress shouldn't be getting paid.
No, not at all. I agree.
no,
agree.
I'd 100%
they
agree
shouldn't
with
be
that.
getting no money, dude, because if I don't go to work, my ass don't get paid unless I have paid, that's fucking vacations or even sick days.
So a question that I would have is at the beginning of the end of every week, Mike Johnson is having his page or whatever announce that there's another week-long recess, and that's happened, I think, 5 weeks in a row now. Why is he keeping the Congress away from the House? Why is he keeping it out of session? Like, it's easy to blame the Democrats, but
it's easy to blame anyone.
He's ultimately the one who every week says we're not meeting again next week, and then the next week comes and he says we're not meeting again this week. So there's no negotiations going on, but we're paying them. We're paying like you're saying, we're paying their salary. We're paying taxes. My federal taxes haven't stopped coming out of my check.
Nope.
So where's the revolution from the people altogether?
Well, and that's what's scary is if we wait till people are hungry, it's, to me, in my opinion, has a much higher risk of being violent than if we would start trying to come together as people before it. Well, I mean, it's kind of too late now. I don't think we can force them back into that. I don't know how to do that. I wish I could.
It'd be nice, but it's so hard because the country's so divided. Like, you guys just had the No Kings protest, but it's almost like it's time to call for a different type of protest, something that maybe unites America, but it's so hard to unite America right now. It's so hard to unite left and right. Like, I mean, you're a little more on the left side, I'm a little more on the right, but I know me and you could unite under a common thing. But
yes.
How do you get the masses to unite under a common, like, we're not here to defy Donald Trump. We're not here to, because like I don't agree with a lot of that in some ways. But if I can come together to defy the government as a whole and what they're doing, then yes, you have my full attention. I'm on board with that. Like, I'm on board with the government not working, which we hired them to do, which we pay our taxes for them to do, and they're not doing it. I'm on board to say fuck you about that. Like, I mean, get to work, get some shit done.
Right?
I don't want citizens to go hungry. If these people need food, they need food. And if they're lazy, whatever. But a lot of them aren't. A lot of them are just trying to make ends meet. It's not about just lazy people. Sure, there are lazy people that take advantage of the system, but we're not talking about just that percentage of lazy people taking advantage of the system.
No.
We're talking about people that are trying to make it, that need to eat and feed their children. I want them to have food.
Yeah.
And me donating to a food pantry certainly might help my local area, but it's not going to fix the massive problem we have here.
Oh gosh, no, because the problem is the people who do have the money to help out, I mean, hopefully our jobs will continue to be there, and as long as I'm getting paid, I will continue to support as many people as I can, but I can't feed 40 million people.
No.
It's like, and
I could feed a family for a week or two. That's about as good as I can do. I could barely feed myself other than that. So what do you want? I got $5,000 in savings. Do you want that? That's all I have.
That's it.
I am not a prepper, but I do always keep a good amount of dried beans and rice around just for this emergency situation. I don't know. So something that's super important is for, you brought up the No Kings protest. I'm part of many of the groups that put the No Kings protest on. And that is exactly the narrative. We had a day where we were like, holy shit, we got 8.1 million people out. That's huge.
I did want to bring that up tonight, but yeah, continue.
Yeah, but then the question then is like, what now? And there's a lot of infighting. I mean, among both parties, there's infighting amongst people. There's some people who are like, these protests aren't doing anything. Who cares? And there's other people who are like, yeah, protests are how you start getting people together to start building more momentum. But and then I look at the right side and they're fighting, and I'm like, yeah, I guess we're just not meant to get along anymore. I don't know. It was kind of weird to go from such positive momentum after that to, the the left, they're not united at all.
Yeah.
But I'm also getting that impression from the right. I mean,
Because they're dividing us on as many things as they possibly can right now.
100%.
Class, race,
So-
male, female, anything they can find.
Can I step in right there?
Sure.
So it's a known fact that the U.S. government is known for overthrowing governments and then instilling something that they want that benefit them. Okay? So the only thing that they can't benefit off of is, well, the American way of society, the way that it is now. So they have to drop it and then break it and rebuild it. This is what's going to have to happen. And that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to crash the economy and everybody's shit's going to tank and everybody's going to go broke. They want you starving and hungry and they want you in breadlines because it's easier to control you that way.
What is the end game from that, though? So they control us to do what?
Complete and absolute obedience and power. It's China.
To, like, what? I mean, there's not fields for us all to go work. So if we give them the obedience, like, what is that? What is the end
It's
game?
our freedom.
I've had these same questions.
Absolutely.
I've had these same questions, and funny enough, which we're going to have him on, I think next week or whatever. He agreed. It was one of the sales reps at work. I just came in and started talking to him. He enlightened me to. Let me get this right. Yeah, okay. He enlightened me to a little documentary called Zeitgeist. I don't know if you've heard of that or you guys have or not, but it's pretty fucking insightful. It's pretty crazy. It was made in 2007 was the first one. And I think they have 3 parts, a little bit later. The second one came out or whatever. I'm on the second one now. And it's exposes in many ways. It starts with religion and I highly recommend it. I do. It's a little dated and it's a little hard to get through and it throws a lot of information at you at once, but it starts with religion. It breaks down religion and how it was a form of social control. And it breaks down a lot of the fallacies of religions, like when it comes to the Egyptian sun god Horus and how many relations he has with Jesus Christ. And then not to mention the Hindu religion. It gives you 5 examples of 5 different other religions that are the exact same story of Jesus Christ. And essentially what it comes down to is the like astrology, like in a pagan, basically how the Christians stole like a lot of the pagan religion, and it breaks it all the way down to like, the latitude lines of the sun crossing the equator right at the solstice. They create the cross, and just a little piece of that was the pagan symbol, and that's how you get the cross from Christianity. It's insane when it goes really deep into that. But it wasn't all about that. That was just the first 30 minutes of this 2-hour documentary. And it breaks it. And it was made in 2007, mind you. So it breaks this down. And it starts off with religion. It says, how do you control society? You get them to believe a myth such as organized religion. And then it goes directly into 9/11. And then it is so awesome how it does it and then it goes directly in to how 9/11 was 100% hoax, and how everything that was wrong about 9/11, which I'm sure you guys have seen documentaries about lots of things about how it's not what we were told. And then it goes into the federal banking system and everything else. And it really goes into how our government was really built and how it works and the history of it. And I think it was really well done. And now I'm on part 2 that's diving way deeper into the federal banking system. I'm like, yes, this is what I want. And this is why my brain hurts. And it sucks, but I'm trying to take it all in. Highly recommend it. It's called Zeitgeist.
What are you watching it on?
It's just on YouTube.
Okay.
I could send you a link.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's 2 hours long for the first one, 2 hours long for the second one. I just started the second one. Seems pretty good to me so far. Dated a little bit, a little slow here and there, and a lot of weird, like somebody was a little too happy with the music scorer. And I'm a music scorer, so yeah, that's great. But it's like, yeah, maybe back that off a little bit. It's a little too much. But other than that, yeah, they try to make it all dramatic, whatever the hell. But it's very interesting. There's very interesting takes on it, and I enjoy it. I'm kind of lost at the point I was trying to make before that. We were just on something there, and I'm sorry, I kind of rabbit holed a little bit.
We were talking about kind of the end goal of like what is the value of us being controlled?
Okay, that's it, and that does explain that. And I think it was on the second one I just started, and I want to say Rothschild. I don't know. So many names were thrown at me. It was I think it was one of the Rothschilds or something. But there's that documented conversation of this man that was, sorry, I just don't have the names right now. It's just escaping me. But, dealing with one of these higher ups, and he left the organization, when it came to the Federal Reserve and whatever. And it was the end goal was digital chips. And mind you, this is 15 years ago when this came out, at least, this documentary. And he asked the same question you're asking, Becky. He asked this person, he said, why? What's the goal? You have all this money and you have all this power. And I ask these same questions myself. I say, if you have everything you need and you can go on a yacht cruise anytime you want, you have everything you need, why would you want any more? And why do you feel the need to, control these people? And he says, well, just worry about you and your family. Don't worry about that. Why are you worried about the people? And this guy's like, well, it's because it's just wrong. And he's like, well, why this? Why digital chips? Why this? He's like, well, because we can have them do everything we want them to do. Whenever they politically disagree and they politically protest, we just simply turn the chip off. And he was just like, but why? It's just because really there really is no reason why for these people. It's disgusting, but.
Well, and I think we've hit a realm of wealth that nobody's ever experienced before. And there's that wonderful old saying about absolute power corrupts absolutely. And I feel like that's sort of where we're at. They just want more of it. Disheartening. I mean, we're to the point now where people I know personally are leaving the country. And
I've heard stories about that people did, and it didn't go so well as well. But otherwise,
everybody I've known that's actually left so far is loving it. And I know a lot of other people.
Where'd they go?
Portugal and the Netherlands.
Yeah, I read a story, or actually saw a live TikTok of a woman that she went to a more third world country. God damn, I forgot the name of the country. It's definitely more third world though.
Well, it's much easier to emigrate to. I mean, because I'm not going to lie, I've been looking, I love my World War II history. When you were talking about Zeitgeist being boring, I listened to The Rise and Fall of Third Reich twice. That's over 100 hours of listening. Okay. So I almost wrote a book report on it. I mean, that's how much this book changed my entire perspective of the world, basically. But...
and that's how the salesman introduced me to Zeitgeist. He said it did the same thing for him back when he was in college about 10 years ago. He was like, it really changed my perspective on things. And I was like, oh, okay. So I checked it out and I was like, wow, this is actually really good. It's not a bad thing to check out. Really not.
No, I'm definitely going to. But my point on that is like the people who decided to leave early generally were the ones that fared the best. People who didn't leave, I mean, unless and I'm not saying anybody is a Nazi, although lately they've been saying that themselves pretty regularly. What I'm saying is that it is like, follow our way, everything's good. You don't, now you're the outlier. And that's why that thing that you quoted from Caroline Leavitt, every time they speak, they have to throw Democrats under the bus. They cannot have a conversation right now on the right where they don't throw Democrats under the bus.
And I do see that, but I also saw that from the other side when it comes to throwing Trump under the bus as well. You cannot deny that is the same. That's been the actual Democratic strategy for the last couple of election cycles, I feel. It's not about what they're going to do for the economy, maybe a little bit. But to me, it's been more like, fuck Trump. Like, it's been more like, at least we're not this guy. And it's like, well, that's not enough to get me to vote for you.
And
I know he's not great.
Most Dems will agree with you on that one. Nobody was thrilled about the last election. At least most that I know.
You have to do more than say, well, I'm not him. I mean, tell me what you're going to do. I get it. He's a prick. Okay, so how are you not a prick? That's what I want to know. I mean, not just that this guy's a prick. We know that.
Well, and to that point, I think I keep going back and forth on the how doomed we are meter, if that could be a thing. I hate to say it this way, but it's like my optimistic self says we need some younger people in there. We need some people who are not lifelong politicians. We need some people who are newer.
Well, see, Trump was not a lifelong politician himself. I mean, that's why I think a lot of America did vote for him, because at least he was something different. I mean, and I'm not saying it's going very well right now, because I think some things changed a little bit. I really do. Somebody got to him, something changed. Or maybe it was a plan all along and he duped us. I don't fucking know. But I will say that I feel like he was kind of like the last hope. He was something different. I think that's why a lot of Americans did vote for him, because what we've been doing wasn't working.
He
No.
wasn't a politician.
So we wanted to vote for somebody that wasn't your average politician, and Trump was that aggressive asshole that wasn't. And that's why people voted for him, and we got something different. And then, okay, he lost. There's a lot of, was the election stolen or all that? And then January 6th, all that crazy shit. But then we had 4 years of Biden, and people weren't happy with that either. Biden and Kamala. So he won again. So
my question on the whole election stealing, though, is if they stole the 2020, then why wouldn't they have just turned around and stole the 24 also?
true.
I think they tried.
They could have.
I mean, if
I'm pretty sure they tried.
I don't know that I feel
Well, I think
there's
both
enough
sides
evidence
tried to
back
agree.
that.
Both sides tried to a degree when it comes
No, of
to
course they did.
redistricting and all
That's
that.
the whole right. That's the whole illusion of choice. That's the American dream, because you got to be asleep to believe it.
Yeah, I'd agree there.
Well, I know.
You don't have a choice anymore, bro. That shit's already lined out and already ready.
I mean, I see a lot of California is like, at least for this election, went red. Now, obviously, LA, no, all the big cities, they're not, but a lot of California did go red. And then Gavin Newsom, he's trying to redistrict currently right now. And he's
But at
claiming
least he's putting it up to a vote. Texas did not put it up to a citizen vote, whereas California is. And if California citizens vote not to redistrict, they're not redistricting.
Okay.
So that is something that doesn't get talked about a whole heck of a lot, is November 5th, I believe. Or is that right? I'm pretty sure it is. They go for a vote. So it's up to California residents, which is something that Texas didn't do. Missouri didn't do. Missouri is actively fighting against any petitions or anything that we're doing to try to stop redistricting.
Mm.
So and I think Missouri is a perfect example of democracy just not working. It stinks because I love our state, but
Well,
it's
I mean, does democracy in itself as a whole work? Like straight up democracy? Like, are you for just democracy or a democratic republic, which is the United States currently? Like, I mean, there's a lot of talk about that, but I mean, when you think back about it, our forefathers that founded this country, they warned about what a pure democracy is and how it doesn't work and why it doesn't. I mean, essentially a pure democracy is 51% ruling the other 49.
yeah.
Which doesn't really work either. I mean, a lot of people think we are a democracy and they don't understand. It's like, no, we're really not.
We are a republic.
Yeah. It's
America is a republic. It's right there. It's in your fucking Pledge of Allegiance. It's all there.
a democratic republic, but
Yes. Yes. So we're supposed to
No,
elect.
We practice democracy, but we are a fucking republic.
meaning essentially we're a democratic republic. I mean,
No,
Yeah.
we're a republic.
we elect our officials democratically to rule republicly. Under the
We practice democracy.
yes, but it's not a full-on democracy.
No.
It can't be, because a full-on democracy, but I don't know the ones I'm quoting
is-
because I was like reading like forefather quotes or whatever, and I don't remember which ones the hell they were. But one of them did say that the 51% ruling the 49%, and then the other did say it's pure mob rule.
Mhm.
And you can't, and especially nowadays, as bad as media is, left, right, doesn't matter, whatever you're being fed. I believe we talked about that all together on the last episode, how heavily influencing propaganda and media can be.
Oh, yeah.
You can't have mob rule in a society. You can't have a mob deciding somebody's guilty in a court case. That's how you got the Salem witch trials and all the other shit. It doesn't work. It's horrible. People are horrible.
Well, and I think that's kind of what would, we have a two-party system, which I'm of the mindset that they're desperately trying to get down to a one-party system, which then
Both of them are.
Right now the Republicans have the supermajority, and so as long as they're losing it in the House if the House ever gets back in session, but
Mhm.
they're steamrolling stuff. I mean, they're completely steamrolling.
They're trying to, but they're blocked by the
Everything.
filibuster when it comes to a lot of stuff, and that's where the government shutdown lies right now. They need at least 7 Democratic votes, right?
Doesn't that go back to your point about the forefathers not wanting 51% to rule everything.
That's what the filibuster was about, right? Correct, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, to make sure that it still stands, even if you do have a slight majority going on like we do now, that the, Republicans can't just fully, join. But like, I don't think, I don't know, like the forefathers weren't like the greatest, smartest people ever in the world. I don't think they could predict quite everything that's going on nowadays. And I just don't know. I don't want the Republicans to decide everything for us, and I don't want the Democrats to decide everything for us either. I don't have a lot of answers to this, but in a way, I wonder, are they working together? The two wings of the same bird thing always comes to play. Like, even though there are no negotiations, you think there's a little bit of secretive negotiations on what's actually going down and what's actually going to happen. Do you think they want people to go hungry for a little bit? Personally, I don't think it's going to last much longer than a few weeks, but maybe it's enough for them just to establish a little more control, like they're always trying to do.
That's you mean like on like a global aspect or just nationally?
Well, I mean, altogether, yeah, globally, yeah. When you think about it, New World Order type shit. But I would go as far as to say, at least right now, dealing with strictly this nation, yeah, it's a power play. It's another psyop. I think that's what's going on. I think they want people to go hungry for a couple of weeks. I think they want a little bit of civil unrest to happen, so then they can implement, whether it be Democrats, Republicans. I think they're all working together on this. I think they want to implement more control. That's what I think.
That's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to develop as a two-tier system.
Well, a one-party system essentially, but they're like, maybe the Democrats and Republicans are actually working together when they're acting like they're fighting.
No, it's more like the controllers and the controlees.
Well, yeah, it's a class thing, I guess.
Oh yeah, because you get a social credit score.
Well, yeah.
So
it's all based on.
How many people do you think would just stay at home and be like, well, my life's not affected, versus people getting up and saying, this is complete and utter bullshit?
Well, we've had past episodes. I remember talking to George, who has agreed to come on. Becky, I got to have you on with George sometime. I'd love you to meet him. He's a great guy. But I remember telling him, if Trump and the Republicans tried to overturn gay marriage, then I'm going to be right there with you, and I'll tell you I'm fucking sorry.
Yep.
Absolutely. I did not vote for Trump. But I was certainly on the side of him for a while, and it was a hope for me, but I was like, I don't think that's what he's trying to do. But if he gets into office, and he was afraid, that his marriage would be threatened and everything else. And I was like, I really don't think that's the case. But if it ever becomes the case, then I'll apologize to you and I'll say you're right. And I'll do whatever it takes to make it right, to fight for your right to marry Jordan and be married and remain married. I was at their wedding. I mean, no, I have no problem with gay marriage at all. Like, I don't want that to end. No, fuck that. I mean, I'd be totally against that. So if things like that start happening, I'm going to be completely against that. No, I don't want that to happen. And that's just, there's many other legs to that too. There's many other things besides just gay marriage. If things start going south, and then it does seem like kind of I don't want to say the word fascist because it's thrown around so much lately. And I do think the Democratic Party has a lot of examples of fascism as well, if you're going to look at that. But especially when it comes to COVID and Biden and all that. I mean, for Christ's sake, people were getting arrested for fucking going surfing on the beach in California. That's pretty fucking fascist to me, if you ask me. There's a lot of examples of fascism when it comes from the left, as much as there is the right. I would say more so, personally. But I don't want to throw that word around because it's just a too hot of a word right now. And it doesn't even hardly mean anything anymore because everybody's throwing it around: fascist, Nazi, this, that. I'm not interested in that. But I mean, more so, it's hard to say. I would say racist or bigoting, or bigotry, like things that are coming down in our laws that started to be like anti-gay marriage. And I do see some, like, especially from maybe the right, like there are a lot of anti-trans rhetoric that I don't like, because I don't think we should be very focused on such a small percentage of people. I do think there's a lot of trans people that are out there and outspoken. And, you know, small percentage of people can be very loud sometimes.
Yeah.
But I don't want anti-trans rhetoric. I don't want anti-gay rhetoric. I don't want that. And when I start seeing that, I start going the other way because I feel that's un-American. People should be able to be themselves. So I'm not okay with that, you know?
And I feel like that is how they are, like, the overall. People have been getting on me for saying they lately, but sometimes, like, I don't even know who is running what anymore. You know, the names that get thrown around that aren't even technically part of the government that are playing massive roles in the government. I'm like, what? Like, why is that person? Oh, because they have money. Like,
or social media, a large following, that too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But it's so easy to take the hot button topics. It's not so sexy to talk about wage disparity or wage stagnation. We can't get all hot about that and fight. You know, like, I can't sit here and be like, you think people shouldn't, you know, like, it just doesn't get people fired up. But you talk about something that's, like, fundamentally part of their being. Abortion's a great example. Like, why do we even talk about abortion? It doesn't affect more than half the country. And
shouldn't be a hot topic.
It shouldn't be. It should be a woman and her doctor. And that's
I'm very pro-choice. I always have been. I have a lot of left-leaning tendencies. That's one of them.
But when you have, you know, the people who are, like, very anti-abortion, now suddenly we're voting on abortion. Why would you ever vote on abortion? You should be voting for the government. You should be voting for how, you know, who's going to fix my damn potholes in my road? Like, that's the kind of shit. I mean, seriously, that's the stuff that's literally never talked about. And I'm at the point where I've spent the last 10 months of this administration, and I've heard a lot of bullshit, and I've seen a lot of bullshit, but I haven't seen anything that just benefits people. Like, the people.
Okay. So, I can get behind that. I haven't seen much myself either. Now, I mean, I have seen maybe gas has came down a little bit. Not much, but a little.
The gas station.
I think McDonald's relaxed their prices a little bit, but I've stopped going to fast food altogether. Right. They're so ridiculous when it comes to fast food. I don't know how they even got away with the price hike they got compared to inflation themselves, but it's insane. There's no reason to ever go to fast food anymore. Ever. Like,
heck
fuck
no.
it. Like,
what
it's
happened
terrible.
to the $59, $79, $99 menu? Like,
yeah.
You're reaching back.
Yeah, you're lucky. You're lucky to get anything under $3. Like, any item. Like, I mean, I think Luke, what the fuck, you ordered like 5 soft tacos and a Dr. Pepper. It was like 18 and some change. Yeah, it was like almost $20 for 5 soft fucking tacos, man.
That shit used to cost me $7 at most.
If that,
right?
You know,
you could go to Taco Bell with a 10 and have change every time.
Right.
Yeah, it was obscene to spend $20 at Taco Bell. Now it costs, you know, what, $50, $60 to feed a family of 3?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, holy
personal
shit.
experience.
And when you're sitting here and, like, I work a very standard office job. I always have. And they don't, you know, like, it's pretty common that companies just don't give raises anymore. It's not, you know, it used to be like an expected thing. You'd get it, you know, you stay with a company 20 years, you grow with that company, you get more money, you retire from that company, it'll pay you for some reason until you die. I don't want to bring my family into it, but my dad's been getting pension since 1992 and his benefits paid. Yep. So, like, that doesn't exist anymore. And so
no, it does not. No.
You know, if the government were to ever try to win me back over, I want to hear things that are going to actually make our generation and the generations following us not just constantly be trying to catch something that I think you said earlier, the American dream that doesn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it doesn't. You know, I mean, currently, like, I think we might have said in the last episode, at least whether you were on or not, the American dream, there's a lot of kids currently right now going to college for jobs that won't exist in 10 years. They won't. And they're paying money to go to college for things that AI is definitely going to take over. They don't even understand it yet, you know. It's a thing. It's a scam. And that was one of Charlie Kirk's things. College is a scam. Another one of his is very, very, you know, anti-abortion. And I hated that. Like, I'm not trying to get way into Charlie Kirk. I know we've already beat that to death, and so is everybody else. But I just, when I really look into it, I do have a lot of left-leaning values, you know, when it comes to that, you know, just looking at simple things. Like, I'm very pro gay marriage. I don't see any problem with it affecting me. Anything that doesn't directly affect me, like if you want to be transgender, sure, I don't see a reason why. It should not be shoved in my face. I think there's a problem with it maybe being indoctrinated into children. I think there's a way to go about it. And I think that children should be taught to be accepting, just as a black or white child should be taught to be accepting of the other color. And that they should be taught that, hey, there's different colored people in this world, and that's how it works. And they're just people just like you and me. So maybe there's a talk about transgender people as well. I don't know if the age needs to be different or whatever, because children can get a little confused, when it comes to, am I a girl or am I a boy? I mean, I walked around in my mom's fucking high heels just because it was cool. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, everybody does.
I know
Doesn't mean
so
I was a
many
girl.
guys who loved high heels growing up. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it does not mean I'm
nothing.
Transgender, but
I think I've known you a long time, and that's definitely quite revealing.
You never walked around in your mom's high heels? I fucking did. I mean, they were cool.
Brother.
They were fun when you were a kid. It's just something to do.
Bro, I was barefoot.
It didn't mean I thought I was a girl or whatever, but like it's hard to walk in them. You ever try to put on some high heels and walk in them bitches? It's hard.
No.
All right, why don't we get you drunk and get some high heels up, and it's gonna be hilarious.
Never gonna happen.
I'll do it to this day. I don't give a shit.
But so with freedom of speech being, you guys are both pretty staunchly pro freedom of speech, and it's not that I'm not, but posing the question of like how, knowing that people are just going to say what they're going to say, and that's what we want, how would we stop, or how can we stop us infighting so that the people can start actually getting together and telling our government this is unacceptable?
Put your egos down. Just put your egos down. We all want the same thing. That's in the end, man. We want good paying fucking jobs. We want a good pension to retire from. Leave something for our kids if you love them enough,
Yeah.
And I don't know, just have a living wage, dude, and just be able to I don't know, whatever. Leave me the fuck alone. Whatever you fucking believe in religion, leave them the fuck alone. You want to know about it? Ask.
Freedom of religion, freedom of everything. I mean, I think the main problem with freedom of speech is when you do have freedom of speech, you just have to allow all speech. And
yes,
it does mean that you have to allow hate speech to an extent. That doesn't mean that you have to condone hate speech. That doesn't mean that you have to agree with hate speech. And that also doesn't mean that hate speech doesn't have consequences. I mean, if you're going to be this person that hates transgenders, or this person that hates black people or hates white people, it doesn't really matter any way you look at it, then okay, you are that person and you're able to say so. And I believe in your right to do that. Yeah, 100%. You have every right to do that. And every consequence that happens to you from that, you deserve. Whether it's if you spread love, which is what I like to try to do, that's the best. I don't really hate anybody. Yeah, you either choose to spread love or you choose to spread hate. If you want to choose to spread hate speech, I will literally support your right to do that, because your right to do that matters. Your right to do that matters. The consequences that happen, that's up to people. You.
Yep. I agree.
Whatever happens to you, you deserve. If you want to openly say that you hate transgender people, or you hate gay people, or black people, or white people, or whatever it is, then you deserve whatever consequences come to you for spreading that kind of hate. You deserve that, but you have the right to do so. I'm a very hardcore free speech advocate. Okay. Yes, you can be a KKK member and go out and spread all the hate you want. I like to think that very few people are going to listen to you this day and age. I won't. Fuck you. I'm not going to like you. I don't have to like you, but you have every right to do that. You can go on the street and protest and do whatever you want. Wear your white cloth and all that. And I'll take a video of you and say, look at this fucking jackass, and I'll put it on this podcast. Like, I don't care. I'll talk shit on you all day because I have my freedom of speech to say you're a fucking asshole. And that's that, But you have every right to be a dick if you want to be a dick, you do.
Yep.
And if
Firm
somebody
believer
fucking
you-
jacks you in the face, well, then, you can go to a court system or whatever. Whatever happens. I mean, somebody punched you in the face because you were a jerk. Well, it happened. I support that.
Yeah, I'm a
But,
firm believer, dude, that you don't have the right to take someone else's right away to be an asshole.
Yeah, pretty much. That is a lot of what America, I think, was founded on. I mean, you can be just an absolute dick if you want. You can be a Clint Eastwood, get off my lawn. I mean, that movie ended nicely. I mean, he ended up not being so racist in the end, but
That's true.
like,
Man, that movie used every slur in the hit. He blew me away. Where did you find all the? But so what about how that applies? Because getting kind of back to the government and the shutdown and the rhetoric the government's using to keep us separated, there are clear and blatant lies coming out regularly. Is that freedom of speech? Is that
are you talking about freedom of propaganda? Because I believe that was a law that Obama passed. I'm not sure the actual name, but it was 2013 or some shit like that. That Obama passed a law that basically like made it okay for news medias to reiterate propaganda.
Well, I'm just saying, because I will say that I am not educated on that specific bill. I know the Hatch Act was out there to try to keep the government workers from politicizing things to some extent, but just and saying like in general, like that what you read from Caroline Levitt earlier, part of that is just factually untrue. And if that's the case, is that still covered under freedom of speech, just the ability to spread lies?
Well, I think there's a difference between, I don't know, it's hard to say. And that's where we deal with all these gray areas. And then that's why freedom of speech it's such a hard line to walk, because I don't agree with news outlets, but nowadays it's not news outlets. Nowadays it's podcasts just like here right now. Like, I mean, what if we had millions of followers? We don't, but what if we did?
We could.
Well, then we're growing, and I plan on growing. And I would like to think from a year or two from now, we can have these conversations, and we will certainly be talking to thousands. And we are talking to thousands now, but I mean, possibly millions when it comes to the shorts, whatever. But when a podcast like this grows, there becomes more responsibility. I think that there will certainly be more of, as we grow, we'll have more responsibility to be truthful and at least make sure that we're not spreading rhetoric. Not that we're trying to do now. I mean, I think we'll do the same thing that we're doing now. We'll just be doing it better. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe we'll have to just look a little closer, be a little bit more careful, just make sure, because it's going to be a little bit bigger. A lot more people will be listening to us. So when you look at news outlets and things like that, I just think they have a higher responsibility. I mean, the news and journalists used to report the news, and they just used to report what's happening and what's going on. And they used to just be a source of what's going on. I'm learning more and more that might not be so true, because maybe they've always been a manipulation source of some sort, but it's gotten worse. I think nowadays more than anything. And
there's a whole anecdote that whole War of the Worlds scare was newspapers trying to get people afraid of radio.
Could be.
Because they were trying to show that if you're getting your news on the minute, then how can anybody fact check it? And that I listened to Stuff You Should Know podcast. I kind of rely on them to fact check, and they did a whole episode on that. So it's a similar thing. I think it's always been around.
But yeah.
But at this point, it's like, I was watching Fox News today, which I do sometimes when I really want to hurt my brain, because I just feel like they yell. I feel like all they do is yell, like, stop yelling.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're just, again, like, they keep
saying, you're in power now, chill.
Well, and I'll take like the $17 trillion that Trump keeps saying we've gotten from tariffs. Where is this money? Why is that not funding SNAP? Why is this not? I don't think it exists.
Not eating the national debt.
That's if 17 million. I mean, that's what, a fourth of our GDP.
17 million.
That's what he keeps saying. 17 trillion is what the tariffs have taken in.
No, that can't be right. That can't be right. That can't be anywhere near right.
Every day.
17 billion, I believe. 17 trillion. You're jacking somebody off. That's not true. There's no way. 17 trillion is almost half of our national debt as it is. No, that's not a thing.
Well, and so for the president to be saying it, for the press to be repeating it, and not a single person in that newsroom actually says, where do those figures come from?
$17 trillion. You do realize that it would only take maybe like 100 billion or so to feed these people right now that are not getting their benefits. Like, why would that even be an issue if you've taken that much in from? It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense, but he says it in every press conference, literally every press conference.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say literally. Let me backtrack. Most of the ones that I've watched, it's brought up, and so, it's come to this where, like, I support freedom of speech for the most part, but when people are getting to the point where they're lying and spreading misinformation, then I start getting a little like, I struggle with that a little bit.
I think, kind of like I said, there's certain responsibilities, and as you grow. So I would say the president of the United States has one of the highest responsibilities when it comes to freedom of speech, because it would be a little different. Like I said, your average asshole spreading KKK rhetoric, okay, you have the freedom to do that. The president of the United States, if we're to go and do the same exact thing, now that's a little different, because he's literally offending people of his country, extremely unpresidential, which I'm not arguing Trump is at times, so I would say, yeah, to the highest of regard when it comes to freedom of speech, sure, maybe the president of the United States still has that, but he needs to be much more wise about how he uses that. And would I say Donald Trump is? Fuck no. No. I don't think so. I mean, me and Luke were talking earlier, and Luke, you're correct to a degree. When it comes to business dealings, dealing with billionaires, making billion-dollar deals and everything else, he is a good speaker. He must be, because he's made a lot of deals. He's done a lot of things. He's dealt with a lot of higher-ups, more so than me or you. Us three sitting at this, just chilling. He's done much more than us three ever could, and many more could. So he must be able to speak on some level to get people to make these deals. But would I say he's a good speaker? Fuck no. If you compare him to Obama, I mean, Obama was a very well-articulated speaker. Obama was great. Obama's speeches, you felt them. It meant something, whether he was telling the truth or not. I got my own qualms with Obama. But he was very articulate. He was a well speaker. Trump is not. Trump is a simpleton. The way he speaks to the American people, I don't like it.
Because American people are simple.
And that might be why he resonates with a lot of them. I don't know.
I mean,
certainly, I wouldn't say he's a good speaker.
Like, seriously, dude. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to be like simple as in like you're in, people that's intelligence level. It's just like based on a simple thing that
majority of rural America might be what you're speaking of.
I mean, I suppose
he speaks to them.
Well, sure. So the president of the United States is supposed to be the embodiment of the country that he represents.
Well, like I said, certain family members of mine, they liked the AI video of him dropping poop on the No Kings protesters. Obviously, you, Becky, being one of those, you didn't see that? No, that was a thing.
No,
that was a thing.
That was so horrible. You talk about bringing humor in, and he should be able to bring humor in, and that to me was
unpresidential. Very unpresidential.
God. I actually didn't believe it, so I did my own fact checking on myself twice. Because I'm like, too. No normal human would do this. Like, don't get me wrong. I enjoy a good fart joke, and I enjoy a good poop joke, right? But he, in that video, insinuated he wanted to shit on over 8 billion people.
Yeah.
That he represents. And if I worked at a company and my boss said, "I hate you," I would quit.
It was very unpresidential. It was a very unpresidential thing to do. Like I said, a lot of the supporters loved it, but
and that makes me sad for America, if I have to be honest, because it shows how deep the disdain for the two sides, and there's not two sides. There's about 8,000 different sides, and that's one of the unfortunate things about where we're at is we have to pick between two people when none of us are that.
And none of us even want either of the two most of the time. I mean,
No, and I sit there and I'm like, okay, can I appreciate humor? Can I appreciate potty humor? Like, yes, from almost anybody else on the planet except world leaders. And he's supposed to be the most powerful man in the world. And again, I was out
it's
there.
a little unpresidential. Maybe don't do it. Maybe don't do what you did, but
he's a regular guy, bro. He's just a businessman coming out of New York.
I think it just brings out the WWE of politics. It really does. It just makes it just, here it is. It's fucking fake ass bullshit, and he's just playing the fucking game. Because it is all fake. I think it's all planned. I think this government shutdown's planned. And I think it's planned that people are going to fucking have civil unrest because of this whole food ordeal, the SNAP ordeal and everything else. I think it's planned, and I think we're about to see a little bit of civil unrest.
I would say there should be plenty of money left in the damn reserve for them to be okay.
You would think, but they'll probably cut it off because they want the civil unrest. I think that's what's going to happen.